Hello, and welcome to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The Philosopher and the Fool.
So, Skybrowse, which videos of his did you see?
So I watched the Breathing Elon Musk. I watched Cream of the Slop and Joe's Rogaine Experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's most of them. I also looked at a little bit at a few of the others, but not the full way through.
Yeah.
So I saw his, what was it? It's like Christmas something or other. The Home Alone thing.
Stallone Alone.
Yeah. So I just saw like a couple seconds of that one.
Yeah.
And then I watched maybe a quarter of the Catgirl one. I don't remember what it was called.
Those are the three that...
Yeah. Because the Catgirl one, I was like, wait, there's nothing here.
Yeah, there isn't anything there.
And it's... The other thing, I don't think most people... Like, when I see most people use AI and talk about AI and they show like, oh, look at this AI thing I made.
Yeah.
Which, I'm getting... Especially when it's like this. When they have a Stable Diffusion girl face, like the one girl face... Yeah. I'm like, you didn't do anything there. And his Catgirl one, it's just the Stable Diffusion one girl face, like all the way through. And so, like, there is you can avoid it. If you just do a tiny bit of work, you can avoid it for Grok, for ChatGPT, for Stable Diffusion, for Midjourney. You can avoid it for all of them.
Yeah.
If you just do the tiniest bit of work. But so many people think, oh yeah, this is good. And it's like, no, I can tell it's AI from a mile away because it has the exact same face as every other AI-generated person.
He's embraced it being AI. That's kind of the point.
Well, I think Cream of the Slop, it's kind of an interesting thesis because it seems to be that, it seems very Jungian. Like, he's essentially saying, we are in this world where we can be as divided as possible because you can have, like, everything essentially, like, he doesn't say this explicitly, but everything can be delivered to you. And so we're just these tiny little divided people. But the thing that then unites us is the cultural substrate, which is things that if I recognize and you recognize, then we are actually united. We are two fires in the distance, which is a line in the song roughly, that can see each other and say, hey, we were both here.
Yeah.
And so the thing that actually unites us is memes, because it's something we recognize. So instead of creating something unique to yourself that no one will ever see, if you instead embrace a meme and use that for your foundation, you will then have a much stronger unifying force.
Yeah.
Which is true, but he's missing a step, which is that mythology is even stronger than memes. And now memes do, this sounds dumb in the modern context, but memes do eventually become myth.
Yeah.
But the message there is essentially, the more memes you include in something, the more powerful it actually is on an interhuman connection. Which is funny, because in our second or third episode of The Fool and the Philosopher, we talked about the Star Trek culture, where everything they do is, they speak in references entirely.
Yeah.
And I talked about how I didn't like that. But what I didn't like, and I also think I was a little wrong, but what I didn't like was contextless references to things people will never understand. So, so the Star Trek race that speaks only in references. I think what bothered me most about that was the inability for someone else to communicate with you.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if I said, oh yeah, that's just like that time Tahu fought the mana crabs, and you're like, oh yeah, it was, and then we go on without explaining it, most people are going to be confused, right?
Yeah.
But if it's something like, I use the example all the time because it's obvious, but I panicked. Yeah. Everyone knows what that means. Yeah. And that is a reference to, the spirit of Pan was there and he frightened me.
Yeah. I played a game of D&D with a guy who spoke in 50% references.
Yeah. And
I basically had to tell him, all right, you need to tone it back because you're pulling us all out of the fantasy here.
It's also...
when you're trying to roleplay a medieval fantasy, and then one of the characters is speaking in references to, Starship Troopers, you're like, okay, you need to...
It's also a massively lack of social awareness, very nerdy thing to do, where you say, oh, this is just like that anime, whatever, and it's like, no one here has ever heard of that anime. And I'm glad that you're excited about it. That's great that you're excited about it, but I actually do think that is basically... Now, nerd has changed to be more of a cool thing in the last decade or so. And by cool, I don't necessarily mean you're doing cool things, but it's more of a... Nerd describes a series of hobbies rather than a lack of social awareness.
A geek has taken the place of nerd.
Yeah. So nerd used to not just be the fact that you liked D&D and video games, those were also socially inept things. You were socially inept if you enjoyed those things.
Yeah.
And so nerd actually just meant you're socially inept. And so you hyperfixate on tiny little things. You make references to stuff nobody else cares about.
Yeah.
You're too obsessed with stuff that you really should stop. Okay, I don't want to hear... we should have him on the show sometime, maybe. But there's this guy BMO, and in his chat, he's an artist, and so every time he dies playing a video game, he'll draw whatever the chat wants him to draw.
Yeah.
And like he'd come on our show. He likes talking about AI and stuff, and I know him a little bit. But he was saying, like someone in the chat was like, you should draw that BMO, that fat BMO you did before, but make him smoking this time. He's like, okay, yeah, and the smoke should make him like swell up a bit. And he's like, what's going on here? And he's like, and he should be barefoot. And it's like, okay, I'm not drawing that anymore. I don't know what you're doing here. But the guy just got too fixated on. He's like, oh, it'd be super funny if like it's like, no, I don't think this is what. Now that's more of a perverted example, I think, possibly. But in general, even if it wasn't perverted, he just thought, oh, this would be super funny.
I think there can be perverted fixation.
Yeah, but the nerds hyperfixate basically on all these little details that don't matter, and that makes you socially inept, is what I was getting at there. Whereas when you have something that draws you together, that's like the opposite of nerdy, I guess, in a way. And so, but it's weird because, like, the ancient Greeks culture, right, which our society is kind of based on in some ways, they were a Homeric tradition, which means they essentially took the Iliad and the Odyssey as these things that you tried to live up to. Like Alexander the Great, possibly the greatest 22-year-old in history. All he wanted to do was live up to Achilles from the Iliad, because the Iliad was his favorite book. He would sleep with the book, basically. Like, I think he might actually have slept with the book. Yeah. Like, he loved it so much. But now if you're like, oh yeah, this is just like when Hercules did whatever, then now you're a nerd again, because to not be a nerd, you have to kind of be a lowest common denominator in some sense, I think. So there is a degree, I think. You can appear sophisticated and I do think mythology, you can appear more sophisticated if you do it right. It's all about how you do it as well, right? Like, you can be really into video games and be cool if you do it right. You just say, like, oh yeah, no, I love Call of Duty. And then it's like, oh, cool. And then that's where the conversation ends. You don't go, or maybe you even give a reason, like, oh yeah, no, like the hand-eye coordination, the time with friends, it's really special to me. Mm-hmm. That's cool. You do something like, so this one time I was like rolling my loot box and I got this really cool skin and I put it on the thing, and then and even then excitement can be cool. So I'm not trying to say don't be excited about things. Don't be inauthentic. Yeah. But just if people's eyes start glazing over, change the topic. That's the main thing. Like if people are just going like yeah, and they really want to get back to their point of Skybrows, maybe you should like take a hint. But the most important thing about the Iliad is yeah, so Cream of the Slop, I thought it was an interesting message, which is essentially that. I don't like the word slop. The visuals were disgusting. I don't like all the cream everywhere.
Like creamy Monjaro?
I've never liked ice cream, really, and like whipped cream I'm like 50-50 on. I do like whipped cream most of the time, but, and the cream, I didn't quite like Kilimanjaro, obviously it's a reference to, but I don't know why he did
It's basically an inside joke.
Of... What, his or?
His, yes.
Okay.
It says at the end of the video, this is based on an inside joke.
Okay.
That no one will get.
Okay, because I didn't know what that was about. He's clearly... Okay, well, I'll just go through the other songs. Joe's Rogaine experience was... I guess it was kind of encapsulation of the Joe Rogan show. Like, carnivore diet and vaccine... What's really interesting about both Elon Musk and the Joe's Rogaine experience is he's clearly a fan of both, but he's also totally willing to criticize them.
He's not a stan, he's a fan.
But he's also, because there's so much division where people are like, you're in Camp A or Camp B, right? Yeah. And it tends to, whatever reason, fall upon... Now, I don't think left and right is actually a political thing anymore. I do think it's just a, like, star-bellied Sneetches situation.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't actually matter... there's no inherent political philosophy behind left... there's a little bit of one, but it's not very large between the left and the right. Because left and the right, it's largely an American cultural division. And Americans, left or right, tend to be very similar compared to other countries, right? Yeah. So... Like, there's more similarity between a left and a right-wing American than there is between an American and a Canadian, or an American and a, like, German, or what, like, anything like that. Now, Canadians are probably the closest people on Earth to Americans, and even then, I think a left and a right American probably have more in common than an American and a Canadian, but that one's a bit more debatable. But the, so you have to, if you're a Redditor, you have to be against Elon Musk, except like 5 years ago, then you had to be pro Elon Musk before he went in support of Donald Trump. And if you're pro Donald Trump, then you have to be pro Elon Musk, except now they had that division, so there's a bit. But basically there's two camps and you get lumped into one more or less. Whereas he's not doing that. And one of the comments on his video actually said he had a teacher in university who, this seems very unusual for a university teacher these days, but the teacher said, if you show something that's being all positive or all negative, you're just writing propaganda. If you show nuance and you show both sides of an issue, then you're writing a dissertation. And so you, sir, are writing a dissertation. That was the comment, essentially. And so I thought that was pretty cool. How he's basically, he's just having fun with everything related to Joe Rogan and Elon Musk. He's not actually he's not actually making a point like they're bad or they're good. He's just like, hey, this is all the stuff they've done. And they are, in the Harry Potter sense, Oliver's one shop where he said Voldemort was a great man.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan and Elon Musk are great. Which is not to say Joe Rogan and Elon Musk are Voldemort, but they are very influential people who have done many things.
Yeah.
And so they are great people. So here, not great as in good, but like they could be good, but they're great as in powerful. They've had an impact in history.
Yeah.
They'll go down in the history books. And I think Joe Rogan, his history book will be interesting because he'll be kind of like Durkheim. No, not Durkheim. I'm trying to remember. Herodotus. He'll be kind of like Herodotus probably, where he's not a famous person in of himself, but because everything he's done will be so invaluable to future generations looking at famous people, he'll show up again and again and again. You'll be like, oh yeah, I write my essay on Elon Musk, the visionary from the 21st century. And on the Joe Rogan Experience, he said this. And then you'll be talking about this philosopher, like Jordan Peterson from the 21st century. And on the Joe Rogan Experience. And if you're a historian, you'll be like, man, the Joe Rogan Experience comes up like all the time.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be that kind of figure where he hasn't really, I mean, he did Fear Factor, he did M&A, but I think his main thing will be...
He's also a comedian.
Yeah, I don't think that will, that's not remembered now. but I think his
comedy shows are quite funny.
I haven't seen them. I saw a bit of one when he had hair, but I don't really remember it. But I think he will be mostly remembered for his impact on just recording history and interviewing people.
Yeah.
But so it'll be more of a scholarly thing to know about Joe Rogan. But for now, he is a great man that I think it's like the majority of men watch or something. Like it's really high numbers. He's very popular.
Yeah. So something I don't know if you looked a little bit more into, he posts things at other locations as well. If you look at people reacting to his videos, he'll put in the comments. So he talked a little bit about his workflow, so to say. And so he has Grok and Gemini make the images, I think. Yeah. And then he uses what's it called? The animation program that's
Grok Imagine? Or
no. He doesn't use that. He uses the really expensive one. Google's image. What's that called? Is that Sono or Suno?
Suno is OpenAI's.
All right. He uses Suno for video.
Gemini is Google's, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I think he uses Suno for video.
Okay.
Gemini is what he uses to make images. So he takes those images.
He doesn't use Nano Banana for images?
He might be using that now. Okay. But he then takes those images and he puts them into Suno to have it produce the video partly. He makes the music with whatever that music AI is.
That's Suno.
Okay.
Sora is OpenAI, sorry.
So he uses Sora for the videos.
Okay.
Suno for the music. He writes the songs.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
he's a talented
AI sucks
writer.
at songwriting, so...
He's obviously a talented writer.
Yeah. No, he clearly wrote those songs, because... AI sucks at songwriting. It's so bad. Yeah.
And he gave an example of one of his prompts for the video production with the image also. Yeah. And those things are several hundred words long. Yeah. And he says the problem is if they get too long, then it starts having problems reading them, and so you have to put reminders in. In his description, he calls himself a AI-omancer or something, or someone who basically just not, it's not even it's literally someone who tries to divine the future through AI. It's bullshit. Yeah, is basically what he calls himself.
Yeah, like an augur.
Yeah. And something I noticed is he also says he has 16 years doing CG. Yeah. So computer graphics. And I took a computer graphics course, an independent like tutorial course. And it's not like, oh, here's a 3D model and I go and grab this graphic and all this stuff. So this guy, he was the, I think, sole CG artist, not Skybrows, this is from the tutorial, on I think it was Attila the Hun documentary.
Okay.
And so the things he did was he wanted to have an army marching. So he got the crew of about 12 guys, and he had them put on different outfits and then walk down basically a green screen wall that they had set up upside.
Yeah.
And he just had them walk in various different positions and put on different outfits throughout the day. And so you got about 100 different guys. And then he used their walk cycles to create an army.
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty typical thing. And he's like, all right, so this shot here is of, we had a drone fly up. Our cinematography guy took a drone, he flew it up over this valley, and this is supposed to be Attila the Hun's camp. Now you notice we have no tents in this drone shot, no smokes, we're filming during daytime, and we needed these mesa steps in the background that we don't have. So I went around and found some mesa steps in the local countryside, so I took pictures of those, and then I key-combed them to the right color, and I set those up to be background. Then I found some images on Google of Hunnic tents, so I sent those up. And then I needed some smoke, so I downloaded some smoke effects, but they weren't good enough, so I just took still images of smoke, and then I just slowly deformed them as the shot moved. And because it's only about a 3-second shot, you won't notice that the smoke's not actually deforming properly. And then I just color corrected it to make it the right time of night. And this whole 5-second shot took me about 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like a huge amount of work into that little shot. And he like puts together the videos, he does the editing, he does the CG. And so when I look at Skybrows, he's not just like taking clips and actually stitching them together. He is making sure the beats and the movement line up with the music. He's generates over and over again until he finds the right clip that he wants to put it somewhere. He's actually putting them together how you would put together a music video, so he probably actually has experience in the music video field.
I think he's also, I could be wrong here, but I think he's also editing the music itself, because there was a couple parts where it seemed like he had done some stuff that I hadn't seen AI music capable of without, like, you could get lucky with a prompt, but the thing is, you couldn't have gotten lucky in the middle section and also the start, right? So I think he's stitching some stuff together, or he's redoing some sections or something.
Oh no, it's definitely not one song. He's producing, he might be producing part by part, or like producing an overall thing, but he's doing some editing on it.
Because I know Suno lets you separate the song into tracks now, so you can get like the backing track and the vocals and everything. So I think he's probably doing something with that.
No, he's obviously, unless Suno's gone way better, I'm pretty certain he's editing the music. I think he's editing, adding post effects on certain things as well.
Oh yeah, no, everywhere.
Like there's certain beats and like visuals where it vibrates and things that like that's a post effect.
No, most of it is. It's even a lot of the imagery that's moving is multiple videos at once. So like when it shows like the cat girl surfing or whatever, and there's like that beat of that flash, he's actually switching shots. It's not the same contiguous clip. He's every single frame is edited basically.
Yeah. He says the video's taken about 100 hours, and his hands are starting to get hurt by like how much prompting he's writing for each clip that he dictates now. That's like one of the things is that I dictate now instead of typing because it just hurts my hands too much. So he probably actually still does his job.
Yeah.
Besides those videos, although he might be able to do it full time. I don't know, but he's also like doing the editing, which takes a lot of handwork. So like typing all those prompts to it, like all that would just be a lot on your hands.
Yeah.
But he's actually, it's someone in the comments really well put on one of his videos, which is this is what separates someone taking AI and saying, look at the art I made, and an artist taking AI and using it as a tool like any other tool.
Well, in the Cream of the Slop, he has a line which was something like, in the end you realize the art is you.
Yes.
Instead of it being about...
Well, the pinned comment actually on Cream of the Slop talks
like
about
an analysis of that. Yeah. And I thought it was a really interesting analysis where the guy basically came up for a definition of art in the AI age, where you say the art is the bit that is you. What was it? It was you taking a piece of your soul into the art or something. So if you create and it wasn't just about the effort put in.
Yeah.
If you put a huge amount of effort into something, AI or not, and nobody ever talks about it 2 days from now, that wasn't art because you didn't change anything. You didn't do anything. But if you can create an AI image...
To go back to an anecdote of our childhood, which we've used before, we used to have talent contests. And I wasn't very dexterous as a child, but I was quite strong. But you're quite strong for a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old or a 7-year-old. And so I do feats of physical strength in our talent shows, but they're feats of physical strength for someone my age. And they're just not impressive. It's like, it's a lot of effort. I'm straining.
Yeah. You watch someone do this really hard thing and you're like, so?
Yeah.
And then you watch someone... Now, if you're getting very technical, then people start appreciating it again, but that's on a different level. Like, for example, in archery, if you can hit something, people are like, oh, that's cool. But if you can hit a 9 or a 10 on a target, but you can't see the colors, like if it would just be archers looking at your grouping and caring. Like no one else cares about your grouping. Yeah. But so that's an example there. And because it's like, look, you could hit the target whether you're an archer that always gets 9s or you're an archer that always gets 10s, because the targets have such thin, like...
Well, another example is darts.
Yeah.
So darts is a little confusing. Like,
so you're not hitting the middle, you missed.
Yeah. It's because the middle is the center of mass. You're more likely to hit towards the middle. So aim for the bullseye is actually... and hitting around it, they need to make that worth less points. And it's like very specific small parts of the dartboard that they have to spread out to actually make it.
So archery in Lancaster, in the States, they have a new set of rules, which I think is better and we should start implementing. But essentially, because archery, it's like you can get 0 to 10 points, right? So in Lancaster rules, there's an 11-point dot. The 11-point dot is the same size as the 10-point dot. So it's like, shoot at the 11-point dot. But the 11-point dot is between the 7 and the 8 line. Yeah. So if you shoot for a 10 and you miss a 10, you get a 9. Yeah. If you shoot for an 11 and miss, you get a 7. Yeah. And I think that's really fun. Yes. Because it's like, okay, are you feeling risky? Are you going to go for the 11 or not?
And it's a greater example of skill.
Yeah. And darts already does that. Yeah. Because they have the 22 point or whatever it is, which is like this narrow band.
Well, it actually goes deeper than that. In getting a max score in darts is really weird because... So if you play around at darts, you're like playing competitively against someone. You throw for that band over and over again. You hit it over and over and over again. Then you hit the final round of darts, and you will notice that they always throw for 3 different locations. They hit the 21, they hit a different location, they hit a different location. And I haven't looked at it, but from what I understand, darts actually basically has a combo system. Yeah. Which is, it's not worth it in the earlier rounds throwing for it because it's so hard to make that combo. But if you hit it on the last round, then you'll get enough points to beat your opponent. Right. And so they actually have if you hit here, then here, then here, that's worth more points than just hitting this spot consistently. Because it shows intent of aim.
But I think that's when someone becomes almost too into the sport. Because someone from the outside is like, hit the middle. It's more entertaining. Exactly. Hit the middle, come on.
Yeah, so, but Skybrow does go beyond that in his technical skill.
Yeah. Now... I showed you Zero Fucks, who's been on the live version of our show. Yeah. Twice.
Yeah, the far more popular live version of our show.
Well, it depends on the episode. Yeah. But he did a video. I don't remember what he called it. I think it was In My Dreams by Candace Owen or something is the name of the video. It's something like that. And I actually prefer that video to the Skybrow's videos. Maybe not on a message level. I do think his video is funny. It's just straight up funny. But what I actually prefer the production. And I'm curious what your take is there. That's why I wanted to show it. Because Skybrow's videos, I feel like I'm having an epileptic stroke. Yeah. And I think he's doing that in order to cover up a whole lot of beat change. Because I don't know if you know this. I do this. When I'm editing my Heroes of Might and Magic videos, right? If I have to cut a huge section, but I don't want to look like I cut anything, and the music changes, and I don't want to strip out the music and put it back in to completely cover it up, what I can do instead is wait for a section where I go wow, that was cool, and then I just do the splice of the sound right at the point where I'm loudest, or where a beat changes. So you hear a beat go tok, and then you just, okay, right at the end of that beat, we stick the new song in, and you won't even notice because it sounds like it's just a transition to that song.
So the majority of my videos are done in Minecraft.
Yeah.
I just don't have Minecraft music on. I add the music in post.
Yeah.
So that avoids that thing. But definitely looking for beats and cuts and transitions a part of it. I think also...
Or, I don't know if you do this, but the equivalent for Minecraft would be when you open and close your inventory, you can put a cut at that frame so that you can actually, like, skip a whole... Because people are looking... When the inventory closes, they expect things to change a little bit because they just have this huge flash, basically, of the inventory closing. So you can actually...
You can use inventory opening and closing as a transition.
Yeah. I've done it, like, in my Age of Wonders specifically.
Yeah.
I've done it where I open and close, like, the spellbook, and I'll cut, like, 15 minutes, and you don't even notice when you're watching it back. You're like...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense. Even though you're on a different side of the map with a different hero, it's like, yep, no, that makes sense.
No, in Minecraft even goes to the point is if you jump and then land, you can actually do a cut during movement, and people don't notice.
Yeah, well, I do that with Age of Wonders when I scroll the screen.
Yeah.
Because Age of Wonders has... It's a modern trend, which I really don't like because it's really annoying for editing. Maybe it looks pretty, but I hate it for editing. It has camera sway. So when you stop moving the camera keeps moving for like half a second. A lot of modern, like... Divinity Original Sin does it, Baldur's Gate does it, all those games do it.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 does it. The original Baldur's Gate games didn't do it. Yeah. But what I found... So it's really annoying for editing because now you have this sway so you can't just...
Yeah, actually a great example of editing of that cut thing you're talking about is my Baldur's Gate 3 video.
Yeah.
Which is, I cut on every beat of a kill.
Yeah.
And I actually leave like one frame after each kill is complete, but then I cut from there.
Yeah.
And part of that cutting style is I discovered that Baldur's Gate 3 content is really hard to make, and from what I've seen, it's actually not that popular at all. Because no one wants to watch Baldur's Gate 3. Like, the content...
They want to play it, yeah.
The content that gets big on Baldur's Gate 3 is the cutscenes that people talking. It's like, there's this crazy option where if you say this as a dark elf, then this happens. Woo!
Yeah. No, it's, I actually talk about it while I'm recording it. But my Dungeon Lords video... my Dungeon Lord videos, sorry. I was like walking from one quest to another, and I was just like, humming to myself and talking, and then I was like, I don't know how people actually do Let's Plays of RPGs, because there's so much like going back and forth and just like embodying the world. There's nothing to watch. Like I'm just walking from one place to another, and I don't know how you can comment on this. Like with the Age of Wonders or Heroes of Might and Magic, I can discuss strategy and game design, right? Whereas with I can discuss game design with Dungeon Lords as well, but it's like, I'm going to go here, and then I go there, and then I'm going to fight this guy, and I fight the guy. Like, I'm not going to... There isn't enough... Like, maybe in Skyrim, but even then you could be like, okay, when I fight Alduin, I'm going to make sure I have 3 health potions that are... That's why I think all the Skyrim content you see is people going, can you beat Skyrim with only your fist? Yeah. Because then it's actually route planning.
Yes.
And that's why it's always speed runs or, like, challenge runs.
Biffing Brit's videos are brilliant on that. Like, if you want to see how I make a video on Skyrim, watch what Biffing Brit does.
But how do you make a video on Skyrim, like, normal play? Like,
of wandering around like a moron and just...
Like, I'm just going to play Skyrim. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, but the whole point is freedom. And if I'm watching someone have freedom, that's point. I'm not having freedom.
What I think you actually have to do, and it's difficult because you have to be in this mindset. You can't just play Skyrim. Have you seen the joke of hiking bloggers in reality?
No, but I can already imagine.
So this guy, it shows like his face, he's walking along all shaky. He puts down his tripod and sets up the shot, makes sure it's in frame of like this patch of trees.
Yeah.
Then he goes sprinting backwards, looks all disheveled, calms himself down, and he's like hikes between the 2 trees, looking at the scenery in wonder, and then he pauses, scurries over to his camera, checks the footage, shakes his head, changes the angle, goes running back, and so he like does the same spot over and over again.
So you have to make it a production, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I've been doing with Dungeon Lords, because, I might know the game better than, well, not the Game Banshee guy. The Game Banshee writer knows it better than anyone on Earth. Mm-hmm. He probably knows it better than the creator of the game. Mm-hmm. But besides the Game Banshee guy, I probably know it better than almost anyone.
I'm confused when I look up information on a game and it's not as in-depth as the Game Banshee guys.
Yeah.
Because I just had such an assumption that all video game information should be that in-depth.
Yeah, well, his walkthroughs are so good.
Have you ever tried to read his explanation of nether magic?
No.
He quite literally says, it doesn't work.
He has this... It doesn't work. That's his explanation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, when he talks about certain things, he'll say, yeah, so you can have all the stuff, and it just doesn't work.
And you just have to...
It will work in this X whatever version,
right?
But here it doesn't work.
He has this section on like how to swim in the water, which is not explained anywhere in the game, so I don't know how he figured it out, but it's very handy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just knows that game inside and out. He knows like every class, how to get every class. It's crazy. But so the one thing I can offer when I'm playing Dungeon Lords is like, okay, here's how you fix this bug. Here's how you fix this bug. Here's how you fix... If you do... There's a quest right at the start of the game with Lady Lorelei, which I had to figure out in real time, but I had enough experience I could realize that the game was broken. Where essentially, if you go to rescue her, and she's attacked by this huge group of goblins, but what happened while I was rescuing her was a new group of goblins spawned in, and a group of snakes, and a group of witches, and a group of bats. And so I spent so much time fighting those. She actually walked back to her house in the middle of the combat and entered the house, and that isn't a house you can enter in the game. So that killed the entire quest line of Lady Lorelei because she was just deleted from the game. And she's the only way to get the female classes. And so I was like, okay, so if you kill the goblin boss, she will leave immediately. So you have to talk to her no matter what after you kill the goblin boss. Even if there's a huge fight going on, you just have to ignore the fight, walk over to her and talk to her. And so I can just put that in so that's the one thing I can add. But in general, it's tricky. So now going back to Skybrows, I'm not sure where on the beat editing, right?
Yeah.
So he's very clearly doing like changing the song, changing the image on the beat, on the motion, on the movement, everything else. And it feels like there's a strobe light going or something. And it's very painful to watch, I find.
Well, I'll just put it simply that your millennial brain cannot comprehend this pure Zoomer glorious video.
He did do a really cool thing. Now, you were saying you weren't sure about some of the transitions, but I definitely am. But what was interesting is he does a really good job. Like he had a bit with, I think it was Elon Musk dancing.
Yeah.
And it was like 5 different short videos. But it looked like a camera sort of panning around in a music video. And it was like, that is so cool.
You can actually make Sora do that.
By just like last frame, next frame.
Yeah, but what he could have been doing is he could have had it pan a bunch of times and found it just didn't work for that pan. And so he just did the continuation.
I don't think it was continuous. Because...
No, what I mean is, so he probably, he produced a 5-second video.
Right, and then cut out like 2 seconds of it.
And he did it like 5 times. He produced it 5 times.
Right.
And he found where it worked in one point and another point and another point. But like it missed the ending on one, the beginning of another was shaky, and so he like clipped them all together.
Yeah, it could be something like that. But it was like so cool how he essentially did music video style cuts in order to disguise the fact that he was using like 5 or 6 different clips.
Yeah.
It was really neat. And I'm pretty sure it is like he's basically overcoming limitations. Yeah. The thing about his video is 2 years from now, I think you'll be able to do a lot of what he's doing with way less work.
Yeah.
And so maybe he'll have to raise the bar again. Like, I think...
Well, I think that's the case, is he's actually, like, pushing the limit.
I don't know if, what's that?
He also, another thing, describes himself as a futurist.
What's that group of, VFX artists called? Corridor Crew.
Yeah.
When Stable Diffusion 2 first came out, I think it was, they made that mocap anime thing. And that was really cool. That was a really creative endeavor. And people were like, wow, anime is going to be so easy, so much cheaper. We're going to get to have much more high quality animes. Yeah. And I think Corridor Crew is now like pretty anti-AI. I haven't, I don't want to say, I haven't watched them in a while, so I can't be too firm on that. But they demonstrated that you could do things with AI. Yeah. Which I think, and because there was no video generation then. That was all image generation they did. They just did it frame by frame by frame by frame by frame. Yeah. And now we don't have long video generation now. But we do have short video generation, and so now we have the same thing where he can make a whole music video by just taking a bunch of 5-second frames, a bunch of 5-second clips, and make them have a continuous story, which is really cool. And so in the future, it used to be you had to do it frame by frame, and now you can do it video clip by video clip, and now we might have, you can make a 30-second short movie with 1-minute clips at a time or something, right? Like, it's just going to keep going. But that said, I don't find it very pleasant to watch or listen to because the voice is very choppy and yodely and the imagery is flashing my eyes. And I want to see when something's happening. Like, I want to know what I'm looking at. And so I'm just like, oh, there's Elon Musk. Oh, no, there's a Kako. Oh, now there's Donald Trump. And oh, now there's JD Vance. Oh, what's he doing? I can't tell. Oh, now it's too much for me. I want to... Now, that said...
It's okay to be old.
That said, this is a bit of a, this will seem weird for a moment, but there are strip clubs on Earth, right?
Yeah.
There isn't really, as far as I'm aware, maybe in Netherlands or something. As far as I'm aware, there isn't places you go to where a naked woman stands there and you stare at her.
She usually has underwear.
No, but just like just completely still, she just stands there and you're just looking at her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's a thing. At least not to most people. Maybe some very specific interests.
Yeah.
And my point there being, it's actually more alluring to not see something, or to only see glimpses of something.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with fashion. So when you see a very, like, let's say the Sydney Sweeney ad with the jeans, right? You see her zip and unzip her zipper, but you don't see this, like, long pause on her where it's just, like, sitting there for a while. Because if you like, go frame by frame through the ad, like the YouTube video, and you pause on that frame, you're like, oh, that's just a person. But if there's this motion, then you're like, oh, something could happen. And it becomes greater than the thing you're looking at.
You know, there's a part in the Joe Rogan Experience where he says, Jamie, hold up, zoom in and enhance.
Yeah.
And the image that's going by is Sydney Sweeney in the ad.
Right.
And so it's like zooming towards her.
Yeah, so
and it's like, you see that for like half a second.
So you're like, ooh, but you don't get to actually look at it, and so it keeps moving on. And so this is true of more than just like attractive women. This is true of everything. You see a glimpse of something. This happens a lot where I read a book which has a really... Now, that said, it can be done well in books, and it's a shame when it doesn't, but it still happens. There's an idea in a book, like I love superhero stories, right? Yeah. So I was reading this superhero story about someone who she could gain powers... It's a very complicated setup, but essentially the world's getting invaded by aliens, and every time you kill an alien, you get stronger. But every time you kill an alien, the aliens themselves actually get stronger. So how their invasion works is they trick you into thinking you can gain power by killing them, but it actually makes them stronger instead, and then they take over your planet. Yeah. And it's like, she's getting these really cool powers, and it's going in a direction that I'm like, this is really interesting. Like, essentially she can manipulate force. Yeah. And so she can say that 200-pound... 2,000 Newton bullet you just shot at me, it's 0 newtons. And so it just bounces off. So she's basically Superman. Yeah. But it goes a bit more into the like thermodynamic manipulation rather than into the, let's say, strength manipulation. Yeah. And so I only saw a glimpse of the story I wanted to read. But that's intriguing. You're like, oh, this is... Right? So so the intrigue can happen for more than just, like, Pretty Women or something like that. But... actually, related in that story, and this is true in books as well, I think Dresden Files hits the sweet spot perfectly. In this story, every time you get stronger, you get better at everything a human can do. So you get faster, you get physically stronger, you get physically more flexible, you get taller, you get more good looking, you get, like, everything just improves. Every single aspect you can measure a human on improves. And so she is... and she's the most powerful superhero on Earth by the end of the first book. Yeah. And so she's like a 7-foot-tall Amazon, basically. Yeah. And he keeps bringing up, like, oh, these clothes don't fit because I'm the 7-foot-tall Amazon, and like I'm super attractive and everyone's staring at me. But he actually does it so surface level. You're like, I would rather you either tell me a bit more about how attractive she is, or you don't mention it at all. Yeah. Because this is just kind of like frustrating that you're just like... I'm so attractive, and it's not a plot point at all, and it's not, and it's, I don't describe my looks at all, and so you never actually get to, it's like he's telling and he's not showing, right? But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have these authors that will be like, I've seen actually friends of mine do this, like in-person friends when they write, where it'll be a woman point of view, and she'll go, I looked in the mirror and I ran my hands over my body that was, and it's like, okay, that's too far. Like, I don't want it there.
No woman looks in that mirror.
Yeah. But even if it was a man looking at a woman, it's like, she had like a 32.3 centimeter waist, and it's like, this is a math problem, not an attractive woman. Right? So too much is not alluring. And so Dresden Files, I think he does a great job of like, this person's really beautiful, this is why they're beautiful, but I'm not going to go too far in it. Except for Peace Talks and Battleground. Now, I believe he had been divorced for a few years at that point, and so, maybe he needed to get out some frustration in his writing. He goes a bit too far in those books, I think. Like, the threesome with Butters is a bit, that was a bit much. But
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. Well, Dresden wasn't involved.
Oh, okay.
It was Butters and 2 girls.
Okay.
Yeah. That was, like, a bit too, like... Yeah, Jim, you need a girlfriend. That's a... but in general, I think Justin Faust does a really good job with that.
Yeah.
So the glimpses of like Fat JD Vance spinning and whatnot, maybe that's more powerful than, because I do notice a lot of his characters still do have that like stable diffusion face and whatnot, and so, which you said might be intentional, but it is so dead inside and ugly looking. Like it's not even a. Now his cream of the slop, he does basically say like the overall message of the song is basically, it doesn't matter who made it, the cream will rise to the top. Yeah. So you can the only problem with AI is it makes it possible for someone to generate worthless, I don't want to call it art, worthless images.
Well, here's
rapidly, faster, versus, but it doesn't mean that you still can't create good things. It's just that you have this huge flood of this deluge of garbage because it's much easier for people to create garbage now.
Yeah, so the Ogscast had this video. Yeah. Well, first, the Ogscast has a bunch of artists in it. Yeah. Like, some of the creators are artists, they employ a lot of artists. And they absolutely despise AI. Yeah. Like, as a whole, they speak out against it a lot. So, they released a video which was them playing 3D plate up, so like not overhead perspective, but with rats. Yeah. And so they're all playing as rats. It was like their Sim Sunday crew playing it. One of the people playing it was an artist who speaks out against AI. That was Boba. She's an artist. She speaks out against AI. So
she's that Metal Gear Solid speedrunner?
Yes. Yeah. So they were playing this game and they like looked at the skill tree and they noticed that like, oh, some of the skill tree is AI generated. Yeah. And some people in the comments start saying like, oh, that skill tree is AI generated. I put in this whole game's art assets. Every single model, 3D or 2D, is AI.
Yeah. But you only notice the bad ones.
No, it is bad. It's... But the whole thing, like, it's people, I think, have troubles recognizing 3D AI, actually. I think that's something that people have a bigger trouble recognizing as models that are produced by... Right. Because, like, you see, like, on Kickstarter, Roulette has kind of been ruined by AI 3D models. Yeah. Because, like, there'll be Dragonborn kittens, and then there'll be a very obvious one, but sometimes everyone's like, okay, I'm looking at it, and, like, a bunch of people are, like, supporting this thing, I'm looking at it, it's like, no, this is all AI. Like, you look at the orcs, and that's an AI orc, because AI doesn't know how to do orcs. And so all orcs look like that in AI. Like, it's...
There's a game that came out in the last 6 months or so. Yeah. It's called, like, The King's Crown or The King's Gambit or something. Yeah. It took the creator 7 years. He did all the art himself. Yeah. He, like, worked himself near to death. Like, he said he almost killed himself, like, drawing this art for this game. It's this ridiculously large game. It's basically Condottieri or Gwent, but, like, a $200 version of the game. Yeah. And there's, like, this ridiculously large cards of art and, like, this huge map and tokens and everything. And... he has this really weird art style. Like, some characters will have, like, 6 fingers, and some characters will have, like, the colors will blur and blend and more. It looks like AI art. Yeah. But he started doing this 7 years ago, right? Yeah. And so people are like, oh, wow, this is AI art. This sucks. And...
broke the poor man's heart.
Well, the thing is, though, he says he hates AI personally. Yeah. And it's funny because the question shouldn't be, does this look like an AI did it or not? Because clearly a man can draw in a way that looks like AI art. The question is... does it look pretty to you or not? Yes. And a lot of people, when they first look at the game, they'll say, wow, this looks gorgeous. It's a shame it's AI art. Yeah. And it's like, no. If it looks gorgeous, like, to me, I'm like, this looks ugly, but it's not AI art. But a lot of people, they're being too harsh on the guy because they're like, this looks gorgeous, but it's AI. And well, it's not AI.
So someone actually, I think as a bot, like, commenting spam on a bunch of people saying, like, oh, but you have to adapt to the tools because it's just what's coming along, and... like various other things along that line. And someone else comments like, yeah, but it still looks good enough. And it's like, no. Why I recognize it as AI is it doesn't look good.
Yeah, if you can recognize it as AI, then that's the problem.
Yeah, and it's like, it is quite literally...
unless the image doesn't matter. Yeah. Which is kind of what Skybrow's thing is. Yeah. The image itself doesn't matter. It's the message it's conveying. Yes. The art isn't in the image. It's in you that is seeing that. Yeah. And so... to see art, you're seeing the Jungian connection, the collective unconscious that he's...
and actually, that's what it really draws into. Like, the people who I think resonate with Skybrows the most are probably more terminally online than others. Because, like, shows Nozotaku or whatever, and Asmongold, and Hassan Piker, and his dog has become a lightning god with like the electric collar and this fat JD Vance, and there's just like it.
But you could do an equivalent with like NFL players, or with Greek gods, or with Harry Potter. Like you could do an equivalent that didn't have to be someone that was terminally online.
Yeah.
And the point isn't these are a bunch of pretty images and the images are good. The point is the message that is beneath the images.
Yes.
And so I've had this problem. I've been arguing with BMO back and forth, the guy I was telling you about. Because his take on AI is weird. He's an artist. Mm-hmm. When AI first came out, he was worried about it putting him out of the job. And then he thought about it and he's like, you know what? No. It's competition. I can be better than the AI.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great way to think about it. But how he thinks about AI is that it's actually an art. He says, the AI is the artist. You're not an artist. You're a commissioner.
Yeah.
But I have this argument constantly with him where I'm like, no, I'm an artist. Like, I am doing so much. And he's like, no, you can work closely with the commissioner and they can tell you to change things. Like, no, you don't. I am redrawing like huge sections. So we have this argument back and forth. But his take, we finally got to this point where he said, okay, so if AI does something and then you like fix it, right? Like, oh, it did this hand wrong, so I'm going to draw the hand for it. You have now done a collaboration.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, fair enough. That kind of works for me. But, where was I going with that? The message being underneath the art, I guess, is, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Oh, right. So before we came to that conclusion, I kept trying to convey this idea, and I still don't think collaboration quite works for me, because I've been trying to convey this idea. I will change it until it reflects my vision.
Yeah.
Right? And it's almost, maybe brainstorming would be a better way to think about it, almost, like artistic brainstorming, because I want to convey... that picture, she smiled at me. That Philosopher and the Fool. That's AI generated, right? That picture? Because that is... I don't know how you did that. That is like the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. Like, not the woman herself.
Yeah.
The expression on her face is like the most beautiful expression I've ever seen on someone's face. And I'm like, how did you get that image?
A lot of work. A huge amount of work. That is weird because I did very little editing on that whole image.
Yeah.
But it was quite literally, no, that's not the right smile. No, that's not the right smile. No, that's not the right smile. And it wasn't even just selecting from smiles. It was like the intensity of the smile, the other art influencing the whole image. And also, as much as people are going to hate this because they say it's stealing art, I think a very important part of AI is you actually have to infuse it with other people's souls because artists do that anyways. So, when you write a book, you're going to take influences from other authors you've read.
Yeah.
When you draw a picture, you're going to take influences from other pieces of art you've seen.
Yeah.
Now, AI is grabbing everything from everywhere all at once, but you can tell it, draw it like Leonardo da Vinci would.
Yeah.
And then you say, and also like 50% Leonardo da Vinci, 50% Michelangelo. And that actually makes the images far more art than any one girl prompt will ever do.
Yeah. That said, well, I kind of disagree in a way, but I think it looks better. Let's see. How do I want to put this? Because I talked a little bit about this before. Maybe not on the show, I don't remember. But I think the disconnect between having this really nice image. So, the she smiled at me image, right? I'm not necessarily, I haven't decided, but I'm not going to say you made a great image.
Yeah.
I might say you found a great image, or you commissioned a great image, or like, because you had to do a lot of work, right? So there is work in there that needs to be recognized. And you had the artistic talent at the very least to recognize that was a good image, right? Like, that is something. But the art of that image is the smile itself.
Yeah.
It's not the fact that someone made it.
Yeah.
So when you see that image, you're saying, look at this. I'm not showing you to show you I made this. I'm not showing you to say that this is a good picture even. I'm saying this smile captures a truth of the human experience.
Yeah.
And I think when that is I think the problem is, I'm just coming to this now, art encapsulates sort of this multifaceted thing. So there's actually more than one use for art. One use for art, which is the rarest one, I think, in some ways, is to show a universal truth, like that smile. But another use for art is to convey an image. So, like, when game designers use AI art, they're like, look, I just need an icon. I can't draw an icon. Now I have an icon, right? That's all they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So that's another use for art. And that's, like, the lowest form of art, in a way.
Yeah.
And the highest form of art might be to show a truth. maybe. But the kind of art people most often talk about is actually, I want to see your soul.
Yeah.
Which is also a very high form of art. But it's like, so that image doesn't show me your soul except in the fact that you thought that was an important image.
Yeah.
Which is something. We've talked about this before as well. But if I draw, and it's not just maybe it's not I want to see your soul even. Like that is another art. But I think even maybe a fourth or fifth art there is I want to see you. Mm-hmm. So I don't care how good or bad the image is. I just want to see something that you did.
Yeah.
I want to see you. And now the weirdness with that argument specifically, there is, I don't know if you know about these. You probably do because you went to school for a bit of art and stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know this when they'll like compliment people's art. Like let's say they draw a ship. It's this beautiful ship. They do it with digital art. They're like, wow, this thing's amazing. There is tools in Photoshop that are like rope tools. Yeah. So you don't have to draw the rigging on the ship. You still have to draw the rigging, but you don't have to worry about the individual textures. You just draw a line and you have a rope.
Yeah.
And digital artists have been doing this for like decades.
No, I'm pissed off whenever I see someone's like speed art video.
Yeah.
Because they're using Photoshop.
Yeah.
And I use Krita.
Yeah.
And Krita is far less powerful than, like, you can get a bunch of plugins to make it stronger, but it's far less powerful than Photoshop. It can't do a bunch of things that Photoshop can do.
Yeah.
It's also like, I don't have knowledge of that. Like, something's like, oh, yeah, so this is how I draw this image. And, like, they're applying, like, these tools, like, these virtual paint brushes, and they're obviously using a drawing pad, which actually does change the game a bit. But it's like, yeah, so here's, like, the base image, then here's all the shading. It's like, okay. And I try to do that with my mouse and keyboard. So I did everything you just did.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
And then we're just going to fill tool on this with a cloth texture, and then we're going to take the light source and move it over here, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah, and I've learned a lot from, like, doing things with the art program. Even, like, you say that, then you look at painting, right?
Yeah.
And so I made a painting for our mom for Christmas. And it's like this explosion of fire is in the background. And that explosion of fire was basically me slapping paint onto the canvas with a painting knife, whatever those are called.
Yeah.
And spreading out at angles. Now, if you wanted to do that with a brush, it would take you, like,
that's a good point.
100 hours to do that with a brush. Same thing with...
You gotta use the right tool for the job.
You can make clouds. And so you can, like, do all the detail, make clouds. The easiest way to make clouds in painting is you take a sponge, you get some paint on it, you make sure it's, like, almost dry, and then you just go pop, 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 all over the surface, and then it's like, and I want there to be sunlight on it.
Yeah.
And so you take some yellow, and you brush off so it's even more dry, and then you pop it at the angles where the sunlight will be. And then you look at it, it's like, ooh, that area is not good there, like the sunlight shouldn't be there. And so you take some more white, and you go pop, 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 and then you take some grays, and you go pop, 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 and that's how you make clouds.
Well, the funny thing is, before the digital art debate, right, people would argue Bob Ross wasn't doing art, because he would do stuff like, for example, to do a tree bark texture, he would just say, okay, so if you just smear your paintbrush through the green and the brown at the same time, you don't have to worry about the blending, because the paintbrush will do it for you.
And his whole thing of making mountains is you take a knife, you load it with paint of several different colors, and then you draw a line and you just go...
So you don't have to draw like each of the individual... If you do the colors like one pixel in quotation marks at a time, it's going to take you forever.
And here's another interesting thing. So this painting of the Sistine Chapel was commissioned to be done by Michelangelo.
Yeah.
And there's a documentary I watched on it. So when he first started, they were commissioned to do it, and they were given a timeline to do it in. And so the method he was told to do it, and how he started doing it, is they literally had these giant sheets of, like, vellum tarp. And they would draw images on them. They'd sit on the ground, and they'd draw images on them. And then they'd take a knife and cut pieces out of this tarp. And then they had this powder paint. And so they'd then stitch it up to the ceiling, and they'd throw the powder paint at it, and it would hit that area and fill it in like a stencil.
No.
And so Sistine Chapel originally was being done as stencil style. And this is how a bunch of frescoes and, like, art ceilings, all that stuff were painted, was in this style. And he started doing it and said, no, this is the center of human worship.
Right.
This is the heart of the Vatican. This is a testament to God's creation of giving human art. And so he tore it down, he painted over, and they dramatized it. It's like, what are you doing? Like, they're calling him a madman. Saying, no, it has to be done by hand. And so a bunch of his assistants quit.
Right.
Because that's insane. And so he was up on these giant... This is true. And so originally, you can stand upright, you can, like, crane your neck, and you can do that. And it's still hard work. It still looks nice, but it's not what he wanted. Yeah. So he was up there lying on these massive scaffoldings, like a foot away from the ceiling, on his back, painting. And he ended up almost killing himself because he was using lead paint.
Yeah.
And it kept dripping on his face. And so his artwork was driving him insane. And eventually, like, he's having trouble working, he's getting really sick. And so in the movie, I don't know if this happened in real life, but in the movie, the Pope at the time commissioned it, said, get out of here. Yeah. Like, leave, go into the countryside, get better. And so he goes out in the countryside, he's sitting on a mountain, he sees a cloud formation. In the movie, it's the Adam touching God's hand. Yeah. And that's what gave him the inspiration to do the centerpiece, was going out and getting healthy again. Yeah. And then in the movie, he proceeded forward, the Pope or his assistant figured out it was the paint making him sick. And so the Pope would like basically order him, like, I want this done in a certain amount of time. You already extended my timeline way too much. I want it completed before me or you die.
Right.
So you're going to have to take breaks so you're not constantly getting poisoned by the paint.
Right. Well, I think...
But the whole argument there is there was this technique which was really fast, it made nice images, but it had no soul to it, is what he argued, because you're just filling in the lines with powder.
Like, my first Heroes of Might and Magic video took me 300 hours of editing, right? And I did a ball work video recently, which is now my second most popular video after 3 days.
Yeah.
And it took me about an hour and a half to edit. And it was a video that was like, you know, twice as long, basically. Yeah. So I basically, took me about as long to edit the video as it took me to watch it back.
Yeah.
Like, I basically just cut out the sections that had nothing going on, and that was it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I know what to cut now. Mm-hmm. So, on the one hand, I don't have to go, like, that 300 hours of editing, I went through that video frame by frame.
Yeah.
It was 4 hours of footage. I went by it frame by frame 3 times.
Yeah. So, there's one way to look at this, which is you could go, oh, I didn't put much editing into that video and it's like way more popular. You put 300 hours of editing into that video.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where I'm going, I guess. Like, not quite that, but yeah, I like that. But that's kind of where I'm going is you can learn how to use the tools, I guess, in a way. But on the other hand, you talked about this before where I had 4 hours of footage and I cut that down to an hour-long video, right? Yeah. And it doesn't look like there's any cuts in the video at all. Like, I actually animated the heroes moving on the screen instead of having a cut.
Yeah.
And I did stuff like, if I had to transition, I would actually animate 2 or 3 different layers on top of each other so they were all aligned. So you couldn't see even a pixel difference. If you went through the video frame by frame, you shouldn't be able to see any editing, which is a crazy standard. But on the other hand, even if I'm getting much better and I only edit when I edit on the beat and I edit when there's... If you go through frame by frame, you'll be able to see the cuts, right? But on my first video, you won't be able to see the cuts if you go through frame by frame. But it's like, is that...
Well, there's 2 directions you can go. You can go the direction of making a video that'll be good because there's only so much you have to say, so much you can do. Or you can take about 500 hours of streaming and condense them down into a 15-minute video and be called Soviet Wombo.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the thing there, though, is like... Is it worth it? Like,
yeah,
because you can be Soviet Womble, or you can be like any other streamer who gets more views and doesn't edit at all, right? Like,
yeah, well, he Soviet Womble says I'm a part-time streamer.
Yeah,
because he edits so much,
and it's like, what is?
And there's a joke. So he talks about this on I think one of his videos, but there's a bunch of videos he never posts. And only his Patreons get to see it because he doesn't consider them good enough.
Like, let me compare again my Ballwork video that I just did and my first Heroes of Might and Magic video. If you watch them both at full speed, you probably won't notice much of a difference between the 2 videos, right? Like, you won't notice the cuts on either. You won't notice... But if you watch them frame by frame, you'll notice that my first video was a much higher quality video. Yeah. But the art was never meant to be watched frame by frame.
No.
So it's like, who cares, right? Like,
exactly.
And the amount of effort... to make it frame by frame perfect versus normal human speed perfect is like 100 times more.
So the who cares is very important in art, actually, in general.
Well, because you care, right? That's the...
Well, it's that, but it's also you have to think about your audience as well, because sometimes it is the dismissive who cares. So, I'm sitting here, I'm making a video. Wow, plane goes over. It's like, oh, there's a plane in the background.
Yeah.
I leave that in the video. No, I cut that. They don't care.
Yeah. But it's like, who are you doing this for, in a way? And what is the...
Well, it's also, I don't care, like, because I have to watch the whole thing back. And
Like,
that's boring. Like, if I'm ever bored when I watch my own video, I cut that.
Like, I think Michelangelo died young. I could be wrong there, but I think he died young. Because he people say, like, his skull is ridiculous for, like he was in his, like, late 20s or something, even I think, when he died, possibly. But, let's say he does the fresco normal style, like you just have a stencil and you blow powder up there, right? And it looks exactly the same, almost. And, right? And he lives to, like, 90 years old, and he has a much healthier, happier life. But maybe
And he gets to be a carver instead of a painter, because his main passion wasn't carving.
Well, that's the second part, but just even ignoring that. Like, let's say he never does art again.
Yeah.
He has a better life.
Yeah.
And we, looking at the painting, get to see the same painting. Except maybe if we're an expert and we're looking really close, we're like, yeah, that was random scattering there. He could have, like, dabbed that in instead. But it's like, is that dabbing it in intentionally versus the random scattering even better? Or does it just tell you he put more work in? Because, like the cream of the slop, it's not the image, it's you that's the art, right? And so, if you can create something in 2 seconds, kind of like Picasso would have been on the AI art side, I think, actually, because he said, no, that drawing took me 90 years to draw, right? That little doodle took me 90 years. Because the art is in the skill there, it's not in the effort I put into it.
Yeah.
And now Picasso, I can't remember who else I saw mentioned in the same level as Picasso, but basically, he's a very rare person.
Yeah.
Like, to be so talented you can ignore every rule of art, you have to be, like, once in, like, 5th century kind of artist. Like, you can't just flaunt all the rules unless you know what you're doing to an extreme degree.
Something just as someone who paints, and anyone who does art actually has come across this, is there's a very big difference in having those stencils and doing that art, which was planned, versus painting in hand. And it's, when you're doing a painting, you have an idea, and then it changes over time, and you have things to put there. So, like, what you're going to paint in the end can change. You don't know what's going to go in that corner. So the stencils was all pre-planned. Like, they knew exactly how it was going to look based on those stencils. So that first bit of art was done. And then while he was doing it, he realized he hated it.
Yeah.
And he couldn't change it through the stencils, probably.
Right.
And so it could have been that he wanted the creative process the whole time he was working on actually putting on the surface. Because you can draw the stencil, but you don't know how it's going to look like on the end product. Yeah. So he might have rather painted it by hand so he could see it while he's painting it rather than put out the stencil and go, oh, I don't like that.
So then, the second part of that is, like we said, he lives to 90. Yeah. And he can become a carver like he wanted to. Because even his early artwork is some of the best in human history. Yeah. And that's before he had the chance to really get talented as an artist.
Yeah, one of the things that confuses me is, like, one of his big projects was his own crypt.
Jeez, that's morbid. You're like 30 or something, and you're like, I'm going to make my own crypt.
I think he was doing it in his 20s. I think making the Sistine Chapel interrupted him.
That guy's... he was Italian, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Romans were very, like, death-obsessed.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Italians kept that or not. But it sounds like maybe they did.
Anyways, so Zero Fucks video.
Yeah.
I think I like Skybrows better.
Yeah.
And I think that just comes to personal taste and video style.
Well, because I like to be able to see the art I'm looking at, right? Like, that's why I don't like Hero's olden era's art, because it's so busy. I think the key factor that art today, in all domains basically, is lacking is restraint. Yeah. Like, I talked about this with the Bulwark faction, where their units are the busiest units that Horn of the Abyss team has ever produced. Yeah. And I really think, and maybe it was Docent Piccolin, maybe it was someone else, but when you look at the creation videos for some of the older art, and I actually do this in my Bulwark video, I actually do a little edit on this, but you'll see that they start with these busy designs, and then they actually get simplified. Yeah. And I really think that's important, is like, look, I know you're super talented and you can make all these crazy images, but actually I just want to see a pure form of something done very well.
Something else on off of that is, so I'm currently trying to make a VTuber model. Yeah. And I've taken inspiration from the guy who had the octopus on the attractive girl. Yeah. Like, I'm doing something a bit like that. And I was making my own. Yeah. And I took my 3D model, which I already have, and I basically used AI to make it 2D, and then I was like drawing over and redoing the art. And I want to complete that, but I was listening to someone else say, there are like thousands of VTubers now, and they all kind of look the same. They all look like anime.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, I see these images of these people creating their VTuber models, and they're doing so much work to create the commission, doing the rigging, and you can see way more advanced models now, like the face wiggle and all that stuff.
And they stand out with crazier and crazier hair designs.
It's not even the hair, there's the hair design, there's the mother aspect of it, but then also the father aspect of it is really intense. The fathers are the riggers, mothers are the artists.
Oh, okay.
So the father aspect of it, the rigging aspect of because it's two different people do the work, it's very rare that you have someone who does both.
Yeah.
And so the rigging aspect, they're doing these things where they can give facial expressions, so they can make them smirk, they can make their cheeks puff out, they can make them blow, they can make 2D models look almost 3D.
Yeah.
And it's there is no way I can do this without dedicating my life to it, making this a core skill facet of mine.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you look at some of the popular VTubers. The most popular one's AI, so we'll ignore that. But then you look at someone, they have very basic models, and the people, they can appreciate the fun model. It's fun to have a fun model, but all of them are starting to look the same.
Yeah.
With their creative social. And then there's these people, there's this one woman, she's a professional artist who burnt herself out. And so her VTuber model is a professional burnt out artist. It's got these big rings on their eye, swear it really disheveled clothing, paint stained, and she rigged and drew her own model.
Yeah.
And the model she uses far more often than that one is she made a pixel art model, which is incredibly simple, but also really well rigged.
Yeah.
And you see these pixel art models and oh, that's different. And this one guy on a podcast, Arch, said, why is everyone doing anime style? It's everywhere. Explore different art styles for your VTuber model. And he said the brilliant one, the simple art style, everyone loves it, everyone knows this, the best art style that DC ever came up with was their animated series art style.
Yeah.
And I was he's right. And so I took Harley Quinn's model, deleted all the details, and I've been slowly breaking down I have the core model, I'm working on the other part, which is the familiar, which is where I'm going to be speaking from.
Yeah.
But I basically broke it down. It's I'm going to have to rig this thing, but it's going to be simple rigging because I'm not rigging it to look like a 3D human. I'm going to rig it to look like DC's Batman the Anime Adventure or Justice League. That's how I'm going to rig it.
Well, that's where a lot of modern video games fail as well. They try to be super hyper-realistic and they're outdated the moment they release the game.
Yeah.
But you look at something like Breath of the Wild or Wind Waker even, and you're oh, there's a 3D game that looks super good 20 years later.
Because the model and how you do it is partly how you stand out, partly how you capture an audience, so to say, partly how you, oh, they look like this, so this is going to be their personality from first looks. It's very cute to see them, or, oh, they're very attractive, or, oh, they look very cool. That's part of what the model does for you. It also lets you be slightly anonymous. There's several layers to it.
Yeah.
But also, it's it is, you have to be the person behind the model as well, I think. And that's another thing, which is all these people commissioning these $5,000 models or these $10,000 models.
To be the same generic, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, pick-me's or...
Yeah, it's I don't care.
Whereas, well, I think a great example is Kirsha. Kirsha has a hilarious story, which is, she's a...
Kirsch?
Kirsch. Kirsch is the short for it. Kirsha is the full name.
Isn't it German? For cherry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's Kirsha. It's animeized.
Ah, okay.
So her whole thing was she wanted to have a VTuber model.
Yeah.
And so she went to this person and she commissioned a 2D model. And she had all the details, everything she wanted. And the person wasn't delivering it. And she had her 3D model, which was slightly easier to make, that she's using for a long time.
Yeah.
And the person just wasn't able to finish her 2D model. They weren't doing it. And so she commissioned this different person to do a 3D model for her that did her first 3D model, I think.
Yeah.
And he produced her summer outfit with the big hay hat and all that stuff. And she kind of made it her thing. She has this 3D model. It doesn't look like the 2D models. But it's still Kirsha. And she's popular because she's the insane going down rabbit holes and writing 200-page Google Docs about something and then going through them, explaining them. That's who she is. And the model is a part of it. Because it's a fun fantasy. Like, the models are a fun fantasy. But Kirsch is far more than a 3D big-chested Foxu model.
Right. Well, I think, like, when I see those avatars, like, don't see them too often, actually. Like, I used to watch a bit of Neurosama, but that was, and a bit of the Pippa or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's about it. But I don't.
Well, actually, Pipka still has a very basic model.
Yeah. Well, it's got a lot going on.
Well, I mean, art-wise, her rigging's very basic.
But even then, it very quickly just becomes another face cam, I find.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not there for a fantasy person in the slightest. Like, it's just, okay, this is how you chose... Like, you know when Sargon started out, he was the Wikipedia picture of the mask of Sargon of Akkad, just like on a static image.
Sargon the Second.
It was just a static picture, just on the screen there. And that was it. And that's his medium, that's him. And then someone might show their face, like The Amazing Atheist showed his face, or like Total Biscuit never showed his face. Yeah. And you just saw the video game.
Well, actually, that's the same thing with Spiffing Brit. Yeah. Is he never shows his face. And he has this image of what he looks like, which he shows that model.
That's funny because he's like this young, thin,
he's really young. Yeah. I think he's only a little older than me. Yeah. And he shows his face when he does stuff for the Jingle Jam, and that's it. Yeah. But he's like this young, fit, like, just British guy, but he has this image of this... With painted nails.
Of this old, fat, like...
or this conniving Monopoly British man with a curly mustache, with black hair. And he's like ginger, has brown hair. Like, he has light-colored brown hair.
Yeah. So he's very different from his portrayal. But you see him as, like, the mustache twirling, like, British oligarch type character. Yeah. And I don't care how much, like, BMO who I was talking about, he's a VTuber, technically. Yeah. He has one frame, which is a little marshmallow blob man, that consists of 3 lines, I think. Yeah. And then that frame switches to a different stance with the same 3 lines.
That's called a PNG tuber.
Well, no, because PNG tubers don't move, right?
No, they do. They move now. They
switch between back in my day, PNG tubers, it was just a static image on the screen.
Now they like shift in between 2 different arts.
I made a PNG video once. I just used a statue to represent myself. You know, I did it before it was cool. You know, and I wasn't Indian when I did it, so.
You used the thinker.
No, I used Venus de Milo actually. Huh. Well, actually not Venus de Milo, but like a variant of Venus de Milo. But it was. I can't remember what it's called. Similar idea, but it was a pun. Anyways, it's always a pun.
Well, but the other thing on art, like there's, as you say, there's the person behind it, but going back into the art and like the things they're doing, all those tools. Yeah, you commented on the last video release, which was Remember the Truth.
Oh yeah, and I wrote the name of that title. It's crazy, isn't it?
So. Do you know what the picture I did, the art was? I think it's very funny.
Is it a picture of the actor from the movie?
No, it is. It's the most famous painting of King Charles. Yeah. So that's the one part of it. But do you know what the other part is?
The painting you did?
No, it's Simba. Oh. You must remember who you are. And I actually animated it. So it's a swirl on the so if you actually watch the video, there's the swirls going on.
I used Venus de Milo because it was a video about feminism. Yeah. And it's not on any of my channels that I have now. But it was about like how women, like, you know, they have no arms. So there was a Dilbert cartoon where it was like, she's such a feminist, she can be offended by anything. So Venus de Milo. Oh, so you're saying women can't lift heavy things? So that was basically the image, yeah.
Yeah, but so that art there was something you could never do with a paintbrush, because it's literally taking 2 images and erasing parts from them and then stitching them together. Yeah. That's not real art. You're not using a paintbrush or a pencil or drawing. And you didn't actually come up with the 2 images. You just stuck them together.
So Adam from the Stitch and Adams show, he's actually a professional artist. Yeah. And it's really interesting. So he started out painting. Like he was a painter, right? That was his thing. And then he learned about Photoshop, and he's like, this is incredible. He started doing Photoshop. And he, like the layering, he would make like 100 layers on an image because like, this is amazing. I can just redo any little section and layer it in. And I can even do the background after I do the foreground. It's like super amazing. And then he's like, wait a minute. You know, I miss painting normally, right? But layering is so cool. You can layer in real life. That's what sheets of paper are for. So his art now is really cool. He actually will take like a bunch of sheets of paper and glue them to a board. And he'll layer and he'll take them out and he'll swap them out. And he'll build up an image. And then when he's done, he'll just like lacquer the whole thing basically. And then he has like... So he actually does... So you can do that in real life. It's just... You got to be creative about it. But it's really fascinating how he does it. Although the thing I don't get... I watched a video of him putting together a picture. And he like takes a piece of paper. He's like, okay. There's no seam between the pieces of paper. He doesn't seem to apply any glue. I don't know what he's doing. He's like doing magic or something. Or I'm just really bad with glue. Maybe he's doing... He just knows what he's doing maybe. But it's really cool.
Yeah, but it's just interesting that there's so many different ways to do art. But I think it actually needs someone who knows how to do art behind it too.
Yes. No, you need the artist somewhere in the pipeline, I think. Yeah. Well, maybe... Even if the AI... I think the AI can be the artist. Like that smile, right? Like now you had to choose the right smile. But there's a chance it just spat that out first try to someone who wasn't looking for it. And they're like, wow. Right? Like that's possible. And so sometimes there is... But the recognition of that art will be in the person. Now that said, do you think Skybrow's, let's say his Cream of the Slop video, is a dancing bear? So, which is to say, it's not impressive because the dance is very good. It's impressive because you see a bear dancing. Or in other words, you take his video, you get someone to actually sing that song, you get someone to animate the whole thing in their own style. Is that any good?
Yes.
Is it as popular?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes, I think the art speaks for itself.
Because I'm not sure... Like, I didn't really enjoy the song or the images. And I was thinking, if they weren't AI, they'd be even less interesting, I think.
I enjoy the images. I really enjoy the music. And I enjoy the lyrics.
Like, I'm not going to put that song on, like, my MP3 player and listen to it while I'm going for a walk or something. But Zero Effect's song, I do occasionally hum to myself.
And I occasionally hum to myself Skybrow songs.
Okay.
So I think it's personal taste.
Now that said, also the AI songs I generate for myself, I will hum to myself. But I was thinking about it, like that Vagabond song, which I think is my favorite one that I've made, which you were like, I think the disconnect... And this is what Skybrow's might avoid, actually. Between when you create a song and you're like, look how cool it is, versus someone else listening to it and being like, whatever. When she has the section where she like the AI, it's a female voice for the Vagabond song, where the song swells, and the fact that she's female actually adds to this point as well. The song swells and she says, like, I am Vagabond. Like, it's whoa, it's so powerful. It doesn't sound like that. I didn't choose that. Like, I didn't direct her to have this giant swelling. I didn't even direct it to be female or male.
Yeah.
That wasn't my choice. And so, in that sense, I did nothing for the music there.
Yeah.
So, the fact that I'm like, wow, look what I did. This is so cool. It's like, no, you wrote the lyrics, and the lyrics did not have a direction. No, you can add directions. But, and so, when someone else listens to that, they're like, yeah, it's just sounds like...
Two Old Salts made a very interesting comment.
Yeah.
And... I don't know if you've seen this. They use a lot of AI now.
Oh, no, I haven't.
They like their videos, because their videos were always a still image they just find.
Yeah.
They just produce like AI and just have it like sit there and like they can make some good thumbnails with AI. I think it's the teacher, who does it. I can't remember their names at the moment.
Yeah.
But when communicating with them probably 2 years ago now, when they were first starting out and they were looking at some of my videos, it's like, oh, that's a really cool thumbnail. You have a piece of art. I said, oh, but it's all AI. So he said, I don't care. Art is art.
Yeah.
That is, if I like it, I like it.
Yeah.
That is very different than how a lot of people look at and view AI.
Well, I really think...
But I think what they said is actually closer to the heart.
No, I agree with that. I think... Well, that's what BMO actually also says, like that artist I was telling you about.
Yeah.
He actually says, yeah, it's art. It's just you didn't make it. The AI made it. Which I kind of disagree with him, except because I don't think he's aware of how much work you can put into AI art. And he's like, oh yeah, well, I know how to prompt and stuff. It's like, no. It's not the prompting that you're putting the work into. Like, I got a
Well,
Gaussian splat pattern so that the AI would form along this specific spiral.
I think the thing that a lot of people don't... When people think about AI prompts, they're thinking about putting it into...
like ChatGPT
or Grok or Midjourney.
Yeah.
Most people don't
know 1111 exists.
Automatic 1111 or
Comfy UI.
Comfy UI. I refuse to touch Comfy UI.
Yeah, look at the spaghetti and tell me that anyone could do this.
Like, there's a guy who has a Patreon,
yeah,
which people basically just buy workflows off him. Like, you subscribe to him to get workflows off him for Comfy UI.
Yeah, exactly. That says it all right there, I think.
Yeah.
And the thing about Comfy UI especially, I do it with automatic 1111, but it's way more, you have to keep it memorized in your head. Comfy UI lets you... He says, well, you don't choose where everything goes, you just choose an image you like. And it's like, no, with Comfy UI, you choose where everything goes. Like, you choose every single element, you iterate it as many, and then if you don't like it, you just add a new node and you do it again, because you have seeds. And the seed, you can manipulate the seeds.
Yeah. And so, there's this funny thing on a Discord I'm on, where people, to basically harass the main person of Discord, will produce AI images of her.
Yeah.
Of her character. It's a VTuber. And they're always silly. They sort of have the style. And someone requests him to do something else, like, oh, I'm out of credits today for whatever site this is.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm thinking about it, it's like, I have unlimited credits.
Yeah.
Because I have automatic 1111. Now, it's not going to produce the images quite like you're doing, because that's far more sophisticated, until I figure out how to make them consistent, because it just takes you more time to figure out how to make images the way you want with automatic 1111 consistently in a style. And he's like, I had a hell of a time trying to get the AI not to give this person legs like this. It's like, you can just find the image of the legs you want.
Well,
and then you can use the in-painting tool, or you can use the... Getting too technical.
Yeah.
But you can basically...
Well, I mean, that's not that technical at that level, but there's a lot you can do, yeah.
You can use tools to actually make it look the way you want it to look, based on what I'm saying with AI.
Well, it's funny, because when The Thinkers was just getting started, like That Darn Kitty show, and I was just watching it, and I would make, AI fan art, and they'd be like, oh, cool, what site do you use? I was like, I don't use a site, but you can use this one. But then they would go, and they'd make an image, and they'd be like, oh yeah, AI can't do hands. And then I would take their same image, and I would fix the hand, and I'd send it back to them, and they'd be like, why are you so good at AI? It's like, no, I drew that by hand. I opened it up in Paint, and I
Well, so there's an image. It's one of her thumbnails, which is it shows soldiers running, and they get more advanced as they're running forward, and they're doing a running motion. And so this was when I was first learning about the software that lets you basically, you can take an image of a person.
ControlNet?
Yeah, ControlNet.
Yeah.
Canny ControlNet, I think it was, or Open Pose ControlNet for this one.
Yeah.
And I was going to the Open Pose site, and I was getting models, and I made them go through a run cycle. Like, I actually, very terrible animation, but I did, because I know how to model things and move stuff, I did a complete run cycle. And then I had to produce an image in that pose for each run cycle.
Now, what you could argue, I guess, is that AI is an artist who you are commissioning. Yeah. But the artist doesn't speak English, and so ControlNet and QR Code Monster and in-painting and image-to-image and that is just you learning to speak that AI's language.
Yes.
And so you don't become a better artist, you just become better at speaking AI.
Yeah.
Which I could see, I guess.
But even the collaboration on that, okay, this is why I think you have trouble with it, and this is why I'm going to disagree with the collaboration, is if I take... Because this is how I do art. Like, when I actually want to do digital art, there's either two things I'm going to do. I'm going to draw in my really weird art style, which is what our thumbnails are some of the time. Like, I have a weird art style. It's messy, it has chaos, it's not consistent.
I don't know if that counts as a style.
Oh, no, it is a style. It is a very distinct style.
If it's not consistent and it's messy, then...
No, it's a consistently inconsistent. I don't have any accuracy.
Okay.
That's what I mean by inconsistent.
Okay.
Is my art style lacks accuracy.
Okay. I could, lacks precision. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is very distinctly what it is, and has evolved over time. Or, I will find about 20 images online, take them into basically Photoshop equivalent, cut them to ribbons, slap that together to get the pose I want, to get the figure I want, to get the image I want. and then I'll make it transparent at 50%, and I'll draw over the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I'll draw over the thing, and then I'll add in shading. Then I'll make it transparent, and I'll look at the shading on the image, and I'll copy that shading. And that's how I would make art. Is that a collab between those 20 different photographers and original artists? Or is that my own art? Well, is a collage of images you never took, is that a collab with the other people?
I think, because I actually asked him about something similar to that. And I'm not making him the authority on things. Yeah. He's younger than me. I think he's a bit of a moron. But I just think he has some interesting arguments. So that's why I keep bringing him up. Not because I think he's the final authority. And I mean that, I don't mean moron, like, he's fun to talk to. I'm not, fun to, I don't talk to him. I might have talked to him once in my life, but I just chat in his live streams, basically. But, no, he's a good kid, basically, you know? That's kind of the thing. Like, he's a little naive, but he's a good kid. That's more, so it's interesting to hear his thoughts on things. I think he's about your age. A bit older, maybe, but not much older. So,
yeah, but I'm not naive.
Well, anyways, moving swiftly on. So, I asked him about photo bashing and about tracing over images. And he said, it's a way to make a picture, but you're not really growing your own art there. And so he kind of believes you have to be growing as an artist when you do your art. Mm-hmm. And he does think like photo bashing and collages are art, but the drawing over it, he less thinks so is an artistic process. Mm-hmm. And I kind of agree with him there because it does feel like it depends on how you do it, but I have felt a little cheap doing it before. Like, but the thing is, when I did that Pokemon animation, he saw it and he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Did you just trace over all the images? And I was like, no, I didn't trace over a single thing. And the problem, and so it becomes a bit weird with that because I can just draw what I see. Like I can draw. I don't know if I ever showed you this, but I drew a tree branch. Yeah. Like I had the tree branch on the table, and I drew the tree branch on a piece of paper. I didn't trace anything because it's the tree branch on the table. And then I took the tree branch and I put it on the piece of paper. Yeah. And it was identical. Like each needle was the same on the piece of paper in the same angle, the exact same size. And so it's not something I even like developed. It's not like a skill that I'm proud of it. Like it's cool that I can do it, but it's just a natural talent I have for some weird genetic whatever reason. Right? Yeah. So it's like, what's the difference between me doing that and tracing at that point? If I can just do it, it's like, well, because then you can show off your talent other people don't have. It's like, yeah, but I get the same image.
I'm going to disagree on the tracing's not learning because the motion itself.
Oh, the motion does add to it, I think. Yeah.
The motion itself teaches you how to draw those things. Just doing the shape of stuff. Like I draw images now without doing the tracing, but because of that, I roughly know the idea of shapes of things. I know how to do shading. I know how to put things onto stuff. And I still use references because references are really useful.
Oh no, all artists use references, yeah.
And so that's just another layer of doing references, the tracing over. And sometimes it won't look right because here's the thing, is a lot of the time the reference I use as well is me. Yeah. Because nothing's going to have the pose I want. So I'm going to take a picture of me.
Yeah. And then you're going to change the image, yeah.
I am a 6 foot tall, broad-shouldered ogre.
5'12".
5'12", yes. I'm a 5'12", broad-shouldered ogre. And the image I want is a little goblin.
Yeah.
The proportions are wrong.
Well, that's different though, because you're using a reference, right? Yeah. But what he's talking about is you get the same image back. So let's say I drew this picture of Bulbasaur, and what you did is you took a picture of Bulbasaur, and then you traced over the picture of Bulbasaur, and you have a picture of Bulbasaur. Yeah. That's the same picture.
Yeah, I don't do that. I photo bash and then trace over it, because my photo bashes don't look like other people's photo bashes. It's like, all right, that black woman has like the face I want. Yeah. So I'll put it there. And I really like that dress. And I put that there. It's like, I need a neck to connect those two. Oh, that's a good neck. I'll put that there. And it's like, and the person I'm drawing has red skin. Yeah. And so I trace over the whole thing and draw a person with red skin.
Yeah, you're just building a reference at that point. Yeah. No, that's different, I think.
Well, I do trace over the whole thing, like tracing the edges.
But you still have to make decisions somewhere along the line, right? Like if they have wings in your image but not in the original, then like for instance, I drew a picture of I digitally painted a mermaid, right? Yeah. And what I did for the reference was I actually took a guy doing the mermaid pose, like in yoga. Yeah. And that's my reference image because he's in the right shape I wanted, basically. But I didn't draw a guy for the mermaid. Oh yeah. So when I make like AI art, let's say. Yeah. Well, art in general.
When you commission AI to make art.
When I make art in general. Yeah. So with my the song Vagabond, I don't want someone to listen to that and be like, oh, that's great, that's nice, I'm going to listen to that over and over again. Or I don't want them to be like, oh, nice. What I want is like a 4-paragraph like analysis of the song. Like, I really like this lyric, that rhyme was good. Like, that's what I want from people listening to my stuff or watching my stuff. Like, if they watch my Here's My Magic video, they're like, you made a good point about the idea that things should tie into the common and unconscious of humanity for the creature design. But have you considered that maybe the fact that they use D&D creatures instead suggests that Here's My Magic was never actually tying into mythology in the first place? It's like, I want to have that discussion. I don't want people to be like, good video or bad video. So with the AI, I still don't really... I guess that's why I like the songs more in a way. It's like, it's a medium for me to be like, hey, listen to my song, as in listen to the lyrics and the rhyming and everything. But then again, I do get like the swells and the highs and the lows. They do get to me. So I think I'm not this analytical machine that's totally devoid of being swept away by the brilliance of my own commission. But, and people don't really. So the way have you listened to? Can I talk about this, or do you have a thing you want to?
Just on the commission thing, I just wonder if there'll be a market on Fiverr eventually where you produce your Suno song and then you commission someone to do it.
Sing it real. Yeah. Well, I was considering doing that myself for my Gollum song. Because have you heard my Gollum song?
Yes.
Because that I could do myself. I think I could sing that. What?
You sing a bit like our dad.
What do you mean? I can sing.
Yeah, you sing a bit like our dad.
No,
you think you can sing, but you can't.
I was in a choir.
Yeah.
You have not heard me sing. I can sing.
I've heard you sing. You can't.
I can sing.
No.
Oh, I can totally sing. I was in a choir.
When you're like 10?
Yeah. Yeah, I got singing in my bones.
No.
You've heard my Gollum song, though. I could do that. He's just wailing. He's like, no more golems, just a child.
Yeah, see, there's an example you're singing. You can't sing.
Take her home, her place, bind the old to be replaced.
Actually, I think there might actually be a thing
bridge.
that siblings can't stand each other singing.
It could be. Well, no, I can sing.
I say that when thinking one of my favorite bands is Clavidae Profundus, which is a group of siblings.
Oh, Canada. Oh,
please stop.
Our home and
you're giving me more editing
land.
work. You're giving me more editing work. Stop.
The greatest adventure is what lies
continue to your point.
ahead today. And now the audience can judge.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Continue to your point.
The audience may now judge my beautiful singing day. What was my point?
Notice how we had gained 30 subscribers recently, and we're getting sort of consistent viewership?
Yeah.
All gone now.
No, now they'll be like, whoa, I didn't know you could sing. I'm listening to this now.
All gone now.
They're all going to come over to my channel where the singing happens. Okay, what was they talking about?
Oh no, I interrupted you briefly. And then you started singing.
You could pay people on Fiverr to do the art for you.
Yeah, that's my thing I brought up. You were doing something before that.
Which was related to...
really liking your own music. You said, you could do something, and then it's like, I'm going to change topics unless you want to continue on this. We could just go play it back.
Well, the thought was in my head, not spoken out loud, so...
Well, we could play it back what was leading to it.
But it wasn't leading to it. It was sort of... Well, we could try. Sure, let's play it back. Ah, yes. Okay. I remember now.
All right.
We good to go?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so... Have you listened to... The Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift?
No.
Okay. Now, I think it is one of her best songs I've heard in a while. I heard it on the radio a few times, and I was like, wow, this is a really good song. I wonder who sings this. It's got, interesting movements to it and really, really high-quality production value, so I can't imagine it's a new singer, someone who has money behind them, right? Some backing. But it doesn't sound like anything I've heard before. It's this really interesting sort of feel to it. And so I looked it up, and I was like, I wonder who this new singer is. I want to hear all their music. I was like, oh, it's a new Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
From her new album, which everyone hates, apparently, because it's very different. But
isn't she no, this is Avril Lavigne, the person who was, trained to sing, folk music or classical, and then she was...
No, that's Taylor Swift.
Oh,
Taylor Swift used to be a country singer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now she's like more of a pop singer.
Yeah.
But she's had a few like sort of returns back to her roots sort of thing. This one isn't that. It's not a pop song. Sorry, it's not a country song. Huh. But the return here is that Max Martin is producing the song again. Huh. And Max Martin, he's like the richest music producer on earth. He's like, he might be a billionaire or something. Like he's crazy rich. He's a Swedish guy. And basically every big pop song was written by him. Hmm. And so when I learned in the first place that...
He writes the songs?
Well, no, he doesn't write this. This is the weird part. But when I learned that, like, the singers you hear on the radio don't write their own music, I was like, well, what's the point then, right? It's because it feels weird. And it was like, what's the point? They're just commissioning the art then. Yeah. They're just a performer. Like, I want to hear the singers, the writer, right? Max Martin takes it one step further. So he writes music, as in he does, like, the beat and the melody and the... So he does all the musical parts, right? So he'll come up with, how does the Fate of Ophelia go? It's like, I don't know. It's a very complex song, I think, which is why I like it. So it's hard to just have that beat through it. But he'll do all the music. And then he views the lyrics as another instrument. So he'll have a layer, which is essentially the lyrical layer. Yeah. But he doesn't do lyrics for it. He just has it, like... do something. So it'll be like, okay, so I want you to... So he'll actually go to Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift is actually quite a talented lyricist, I think. Because he'll go to her and he'll say, okay, so this section, it needs to sound like... Na, 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 and he'll have like specific sounds. It's like, we need a V-ish sound here. We need an A-ish sound here. We need a... So he'll do that. And then she'll write the lyrics to go into that. So a lot of her songs... So I saw a guy do a lyrical analysis of The Fate of Ophelia at Todd in the Shadows. I don't know if you've ever seen that YouTube channel. No. Very hateful guy, it seems like. He just... Although that said, I always criticize stuff when I do stuff things. So maybe I can't judge too much there. But he hates like her music, basically. He really hates her music.
You hideous, hate-filled man. Hey, I may be hideous and hate-filled. Yeah. That's Mo when Flanders insults him.
But he was like, the lyrics are complete nonsense. They're so stupid. I hate how it's just a bunch of Zoomer slang. And the thing is, he's right. Like, if you actually listen to the lyrics, they are very, like there's a part
6-7.
Well, it was like, I dedicate myself to me, myself, and I, my place, myself, my vibes. Like, it's stuff like that, right? Like, that's the lyrics of the song. But because it's Max Martin... and the sound of the lyric matters more than the word itself. Yeah. When you hear the song on the radio, because the quality's not quite there, and you don't have the lyrics printed out in front of you, you're like, wow, this probably means something really deep. Like, this is really interesting. I'm sure there's something there. And
my favorite song stopped being my favorite song when I actually learned the lyrics, because I heard it more clear, covered by a different artist, and I like read the subtitles at the same time. Yeah. Like, basically never do that to yourself.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Chappelle Roan...
Is what you're saying about catching the glimpse of the woman's ankle rather than seeing her naked standing there. It's you catch the glimpse of the lyrics, and they're beautiful.
There is an exception, though, which is when that woman is... In this Christian world, your wife, but it could be your girlfriend potentially. Yeah. And it's a beautiful, warm summer day, and she's just stripped naked before you, and you just see her as this person you love. This is just this person you love laid bare. It's not about the fact that she's nude and you're like, ooh, nude people. It's the fact that you can see every inch of the thing you love.
Sorry, I just your little percentage of Jewish genetics came out in that hand rub.
Wow, come on, that's not... Look,
it was a Zero Fucks video. It made me think of that. I'll blame him.
He is Jewish. We can't be going against the Jews now. We can't be stereotyping the Jews.
No, I'm saying it was his video of him showing the images.
Yeah, but he'll approve, and then the Jews will like us more, and we don't want... Wait, no. No, sometimes I wonder if he's just claiming Jewish heritage to... Like, he does a lot that makes me think he actually is Jewish, but it's just like, jeez, man, you're causing more problems than you're solving. But anyways, sorry.
Carry on.
But no, it's good. We can keep that. It's fine. But when you have the woman you love in front of you naked, and it's the beauty is in the fact that she is bare before you, not in the fact that she is naked. Then the beauty in front of you is almost too much to bear. Like, it's hard to look at. Like there's
and there are some songs like that in their lyrics.
Where you actually hear the I think
like
Leonard
Cream of the Slop.
A little bit, actually, honestly. But it's lacking some things, I think.
Yeah.
But definitely, like, once you know the lyrics, it actually becomes better rather than worse. Leonard Cohen's music.
Yeah.
His music is the kind of music where you'll listen to it for 10 years. You can even memorize the songs. And then one day, something will happen to you and you'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why you said that. Like, there's one song, There Won't Be Nothing You Can't Buy Anymore.
Yeah.
And I saw this person, they were like marketing basically being queer. And I was like, oh, that was when it clicked for me. It was like, he's just talking about how the companies will just use anything to make a buck, basically. They'll just push, nothing is sacred. Everything gets bought and sold. Or it was the song, When They Said Repent, I Wonder What They Meant. Like, that song just suddenly clicked for me one day. And I was like, jeez, that's deep. And now the song, I will stay up late at night sometimes. And I'll be like, the women tear their blouses off and the men, they dance on the polka dots. And I'm like, what does he mean? Are the polka dots on the blouses? Are the polka dots on the floor? But Closing Time is an insane song for insane people. I have no idea what it means. It's like, and you can't reveal the awful truth. You raise a glass to the awful truth that you can't reveal to the innocent youth, except to say it isn't worth a damn. And you're like, what is that? What's the awful truth? I think I know what the awful truth is. I like thinking about it enough. I think I know it. And given that it's Leonard Cohen, I might even be right. But I don't know if I can reveal it because, there's innocent youth around. But I'll give it a shot. Sure. If you're willing, you're one of those innocent youth it shouldn't be revealed to. But I think, because Closing Time, its partner found, its partner lost, and there's hell to pay when the fiddler stops, right? Yeah. So you raise a glass to the awful truth that you can't reveal. I think the awful truth is that it doesn't matter who you sleep with. It's all the same. I think that's what because it's Leonard Cohen, right? Like, he had like 20 women, right? And like on and off all the time. And I really do think it's like, it is the same action. And I think that kind of fits because it's about like swapping partners in a way, the song, right? So I think it's that love isn't special. It's, if you're with that person, that is the person. And so it's like, you can't reveal to the innocent youth because that'd break them. But on the other hand, it's not worth a damn because it's still important to love people, right? Like, so there is still love. So the truth is awful, but it also is meaningless. I think that's what it is, but I could be totally wrong there because there's so much more depth that could be there.
Yeah. I mean, he was a depressed downer of a man.
Because... Well, he had a lot of, like, strong faith in him, though. Like, there was a lot of... I don't think he was a negative person. I think he was saying life is negative, but he wasn't saying life couldn't be better, right? He was like, here's the problems we need to address.
So, it's an interesting one because the lyrics were written by Tolkien, but they're sung by Clave de Profundis.
Yeah.
And when you think about deep love, the song, The Lay of Beren and Luthien.
Yeah.
And... like, that is a very deep love they're talking about. It's not the same between, if it was Beren and someone else, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
And that's also reflected in the woman who sang the song City of the Dead. Her, the Lament of Luthien.
Yeah.
Her song is also, like, that hits you. And it's partly her singing skill. But one of the other things with that is it's Tolkien's lyrics or his story. Like, I don't know about... the Lament of Luthien, I don't know if Tolkien wrote that, but he did write The Lay of Luthien, or the Song of Luthien Beren. And he sort of wrote the Horse and the Rider song.
Yeah,
where now
that's the Wanderer. Yeah, The Lay of Rohirrim.
Yeah,
but that was based on the Wanderer.
Yeah. So he sort of wrote that.
Yeah, but the Wanderer wasn't written in English, really. So he did make his own song, but yeah. But I think, so like my Vagabond song, to go back to that.
Yeah.
I think it's, what I hope from it, and this isn't necessarily true, but I hope it's more the Leonard Cohen style than the Taylor Swift style, where it's not necessarily a great song you have up front, but I want the lyrics to be something you're like, now that I know these lyrics and I'm thinking about them, there's something to take from them, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a song about someone questioning the faith in God, right? Like, it's like, why aren't you around? Why are you never there? You never seem to care. Like, it's not very deep, really, but there's at least something there, I think. And I hope that is the, like, all the songs I do with AI, I try to be more poems that are like question something. I did one about narcissism, which I really like as well. Like, chase the fleeting heart before you, not the stump where you carved your name. That's one of the lines. And so it's about narcissism in the sense of Narcissus himself.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking for your love constantly in the mirror, And so it's from the point of view of his reflection, saying, "Please stop looking at me. Please go find fulfillment for yourself. I'm not
Was
real."
her name Philia?
No.
What was her name?
His reflection was just his reflection. Echo was the nymph that was...
Echo, yes, sorry.
So the song would be like the reflection essentially saying, hey, go see Echo instead.